It's NTT IndyCar Race Weekend, and of course you know what that means. When they race, we race first. And now it's time for some top split action in the 2025 IndyCar iRacing Series. Hello again, everybody. I am Gary Gonzo. Welcome to round 11 of the 2025 season. Gosh, it's hard to believe we're that far into it already, but it's going to be over in a short period of time, so enjoy it while you can. This is the 2025 season of the IndyCar iRacing Series for the Saturday Top Split broadcast presented by 4D Racewear as we come to you today from the world's fastest short track, Iowa Speedway. Joining me as always in the booth, and he's a bit of an oval expert himself. And so far, he's doing pretty good in the Oval Series standings. Are we still in the top 5? It's Antonio Estrada.
I would certainly hope so, but probably not. Yeah, I didn't have the best race this Tuesday, but yeah, I know it's great to be here. Great to be back in Corn County. This is gonna be the first race that we do for the IAS that uses the new scan of the track, which includes the repaint. So this is gonna be entirely different for most of the teams. Sure, there are things that are going to transfer from the current sets that the guys had to the new, to the new scan. But add on that the new car scan, new track scan. It's going to be pretty much an entirely new thing for most of these teams. However, up front we can find some of the mega teams, and we can go through that starting grid.
Yeah, let's do that here.
It's going to go pretty quickly, I would imagine. So on the front row, we find a pair of fiercely forward teammates. That's Hamilton Akabuse with a 17.4, and he's joined by Kevin Burrell, who's going to be starting second. 17.5 teammates here. Starting third, we have Jason Brophy, who won one of the races earlier in this week. 17.5 for him, very, very close. But they're going to be neck and neck throughout the entire race, I can imagine. Joining him in row 2, starting fourth, that's Alexander Russell, who still holds a Pro Series license. So watch out for him. And 6,100 iRating for Russell, number 2 car in this stacked field. Starting fifth is Seb Alexander from IAR, joined by Anna Klemek, who we saw last week had a great run going at Mid-Ohio, so good to see them back here. Starting 7th in row 4, that's Matt Hollybow in the number 4 car, this is a iRacing entry, joined by Alan Berteau, who's going to be starting 8th. Row 5, we can find David Henger, joined by Aman Lal, a new name that we haven't seen, so welcome to the top split, man. And great starting position for him, starting 10th. Starting 11th, this is row 6. That is one of my teammates, Kyle Cranworth. He's going to be starting 11th, joined by Lane Hostler, starting 12th. Starting 13th, another one of my teammates, that's Ike Quila, joined by Tom Dreiling. He's going to be starting 14th. Then we have Rashad Craig, who's going to be starting 15th, joined by Ryan Mayer, starting 16th. Bennett Allen is going to be rolling up 17th, joined by Steve Buchanan, rolling 18th. AJ Schlotterbeck is going to be starting 19th, joined by Jason Wallat, starting 20th. Gonzalo Romero, look out for him, he's going to be starting 21st, joined by Jordan Kernow, starting 22nd. And in row 12, we have Robert Nelson starting 23rd, and Matt Kingsbury starting 24th. And that's your starting grid. I'm not sure if we're going to do a full pace lap. I don't think we will.
Yeah, we get 2 of them here normally.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I saw that the pace lights were kind of off, but I think that's a setting that I have here. But yeah, so we get a little bit of time to talk and just finish the thought about everything being kind of new here for most of the teams. Again, new kind of the car. There are a lot of differences in the setups that they mostly transfer, but they do have to make adjustments to make sure that they are working correctly. And then add on top of this the new track scan. So I think that this is going to be very, very interesting. I want to see how well the second group develops and how raceable it is. When we were trying it a little bit on some of the internal team testing. The second group was not as great as it typically was, but that was on a mostly fixed set, so we'll see what these teams came up with. And I imagine that we're going to have a very exciting race. 275 laps, so a longer race, but the pace car is going in now, and we're ready to go racing, Gary.
And big bit of wheel spin there for Kevin Burrell, and that's going to cost him on the outside going into turn one as Brophy and now Russell come on by.
Yeah, wow. Probably left it in, map one. Cold tires, that can happen. Luckily, he was able to gather it. I mean, that's a very hairy moment, and in many other positions, somebody else less experienced would have easily wrecked the entire field.
Well, you saw the points coming into the broadcast. Kevin Burrell is your points leader. He has a pretty comfortable lead over the remainder of the pack. So right now, with the remainder of the season, it's just for him to get good finishes in and finish strong as best he can. He doesn't really need to even win any races with the lead he has. It's almost kind of a Pelot-esque type lead. He probably doesn't want me to say that. He probably thinks I'm jinxing him. But again, he dodges a bullet there by the wheel spin coming to the green flag, lap 4. Let's bring up the tree to show you where everybody is. If you have a favorite driver, make sure to shout them out in chat. 24 cars took the green flag here today on a 7/8 of a mile oval in the middle of the cornfields in Iowa. That's one thing we all agree on. This is definitely 7/8 of a mile. It's how you define that 7/8 of a mile is what really has everyone confused. iRacing, IndyCar, and NASCAR all have a different number about how big this racetrack really is.
Yeah, I would stay with, 3/4. That's pretty much easy. Hey, I was just looking. Matt Kingsbury, who started dead last, has been making a ton of moves early in the race, up 6 spots already. He just went by Ryan Mayer, and now closing in on Steve Buchanan. He, so far, has been able to put the car wherever he wants. We'll see how long the tires last for him, because, at the end of the day, you do need to save them a little bit.
Buchanan up in the wall.
Yeah, Buchanan just got a little bit too high, and that allows Kingsbury to keep moving on, up 7 spots now.
So there was an older IndyCar driver. His name was Larry Cannon, and they always called him Boom Boom. That was his nickname. So now when I see Steve Buchanan, I think Steve Boom Boom Buchanan, and that for some reason it comes right off the tongue pretty good. If he makes any further races, maybe he becomes Boom Boom, but he doesn't want to be Boom Boom banging off the walls like that all the time.
Yeah, no.
Kingsbury underneath another car. That's Tom Dreiling. Kingsbury now up to 16th spot, up 8 spots already.
He's
okay. Listen to his throttle input as he gets into the turn area. Listen. Early off. Into the power earlier than everyone else is allowing him to get those runs.
Yeah, if you back up, we have a caution.
And checking AJ Slaughterbeck on the backstretch slow. Let's check out what happened with AJ.
Oh, Gonzalo.
And he is next to
Gonzalo Romero. I mean, they kind of come together. They're kind of both looking for the same real estate. Gonzalo drifts up a little bit, but AJ doesn't give a ton of room here. I don't know.
Whoa.
Seems to be a little bit more on a racing deal kind of thing, but both of them could have been much more.
Nice dodge by the whoever's driving the yellow submarine there, and I think that was Wallet that made a Robert Nelson there and Jason Wallet get on by on the high side just by the thinnest of margins. So good dodge for those two as we are under caution here at lap 12.
Everybody will pit. No. Brophy stays out last second. Everybody else will, though. So, I mean, if it were to go green, you would be looking at around 3 stops, maybe 4, depending on how much fuel you're burning. But this is going to allow all these guys that are pitting to take it a little further. So yeah. I mean, I don't know. This gives, of course, Brophy the lead and the track position, but the tires do matter. They can fall off, but if he was saving them, at the beginning of the stint, then it's kind of like a moot point. Interesting strategy already developing 13 laps in.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the weather right now, 135 degrees on the track temperature. We have seen very few races ever with a track temperature that high. I can think Atlanta. I can think Indianapolis getting up there at times. But 135 at Iowa, that is a scorcher. And that comes back to echo kind of your thoughts there on getting the track positions one thing, but making the tires last late into a run on a racetrack that's going to be this abrasive and this grippy in the corner with the new pavement and heat. That doesn't equal a recipe for a good way to save your tires.
Yeah, no, not at all. Ask me how I know that. Like meeting the wall after, getting the thread down to 0. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be certainly a thing that these guys are going to have to look after. Tire conservation is going to be paramount to make sure that you last the entire stint. And not that you only last the entire stint, because you can, easily log the 80 laps or whatever that you need to do. It's not that difficult to save fuel here. It's more about saving the tire. How do you stay competitive throughout the stint without losing that much speed, opposite of your competition? So yeah, and that means backing up your entry, making sure that you are not being like super aggressive on throttle application, etc. So and you have to do that for more than 200 laps, 275 to be precise. It's a long race, and you don't really have a lot of places to take a breather here at Iowa because the turns come at you so quickly in these IndyCars. The backstretch, which is typically when you can, maybe relax your hands a little bit and think about what it is that you're doing, maybe make an adjustment or whatever. Well, you still have that, but the time that you have to do any of those adjustments or to talk to your crew or to do whatever is much more limited. So you're pretty much on edge most of the race. That's going to be interesting to see how these guys handle it.
This is a 7/8 of a mile oval. iRacing calls it 0.85 of a mile, while IndyCar calls it 0.894, and NASCAR calls it 0.875. So I think we're all in agreement 7/8 of a mile is probably the better way to define it. 275 laps a day, 233.75 iRacing miles. We think anywhere between a 3 and a 4 stop. Unlimited tires, pit road speed limit 40 miles per hour. These are open setups, and unlike Iowa in the real world, no chance of tornadoes today. Green flag at lap 16.
Let's go with 7/8 of a mile. I made a stop and said 3/4. What was I thinking? Yeah, 7/8 of a mile. That's the actual length. So Hamilton Akabuesi is trying to move by Ryan Mayer. That's actually going to help Brophy a little bit on keeping that track position and maybe even building up a little bit of a gap. As passing is not exactly super simple, although back in the pack we saw Kingsbury making moves all over the place. So. Here comes Hamilton. Here's Ryan.
Since the last update, the audio levels are a little off, so I've been finding myself having to readjust on the audio levels. It used to be that the old cameras on the old scans were a lot louder, and they must have turned them down a little bit on the new cams for the newer scans. So sorry about that. Had to change. It was a little. The sound was not coming through very well, but we'll get that changed. But we see Akabuesi going around Mayer. Mayer now back to third. Russell stalking Mayer at the moment. Kevin Burrell, your points leader. All recovered. Code Brown moment is well and truly past, at least for the first part of this race with the wheel spin on the start. He is in fifth. Seb Alexander leading the Alliance effort in sixth. Anna Klemick. Anna, another good run for Anna, P7 right now. Matt Hollenbaugh, he is representing the Alliance as well. He is back in P8. Alan Bruteau. Alan is now second in series points. He jumped ahead of Nathan Moore since our last race in Mid-Ohio. Alan Bruteau second in the points. He is back in ninth. And David Enger, who is now currently in 10th. That is your top 10. Thanks for joining us, everybody. 40 Racewear is presenting today's race. Make sure to check out their line of made-for-sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 40racewear.com or click on the link in the description. Back up front, Brophy is in command.
Yeah, and you know, Clean Air is helping him a ton. As we can see, Ryan Mayer, who also stayed out with him, he right now is being hounded by Kevin Burrell, and you can also see the tire difference. Like whenever we are getting into 4, the car of Ryan is always drifting up.
Yes.
And you know that means that you are losing grip, you don't have enough, and he's seen for a long stint if it goes green.
I don't necessarily know. I don't necessarily know Ryan's background, but if he's more of a stock car guy, he's kind of doing the stock car thing by going to the higher groove here, because that's what they kind of do here. We've seen that with the repave, and we'll see this for sure with the IndyCars later today when they go racing for real at 5 p.m. Eastern time. For the first of 275 lap doubleheader races this weekend. You'll see all the IndyCars go plant themselves right at the bottom. The high line just doesn't seem to come in.
It's very difficult for it to develop. In the previous scan, it did, and it was a lot of fun to rip the top of the, like right next to the fence. It was a lot of fun, but in these conditions, it can't. Due to the new surface that is much more smoother, and the faster way around, it's always going to be like right next to the white line, all the way to the inside. And if you're on other tires like Ryan is right now, and then you're fighting that condition, and then you're trying to overdrive the car to make sure that you don't get past, well, that induces even more tire wear, and and it's kind of like a vicious circle. Again, he's going to be in a little bit of a rough stint for a while, I would imagine.
Just watching a battle between Jordan Kurnow and Tom Dreiling. Also back in that battle, Steve Boom Boom Buchanan and Gonzo Romero, excuse me. Gonzalo, I said, but I think Gonzo's a better nickname for him.
Well, I mean, Gonzo is sometimes the name that is given to Gonzalo, so it's not that far off. As Kyle Kleinworth is making a move on Aman Lal, clears him entering 1. I see that both Aman and Jordan Kurnow have the same paint scheme, so I imagine that they're teammates. I was trying to look if there was any wording, but I don't really see anything. So, I mean, a new team forming perhaps, which is always great to see. So shout out to the new team, the new Incognito team.
The paint job on the cars really reminds me of those rocket pop popsicles that you would get from the ice cream man here in the United States. I don't know if they have those down in Mexico or not. Oh, caution on the racetrack, but that's what it reminds me of. Tom Dreiling and Boom Boom Buchanan on the lid.
Oh, no. Wow. And that collected Bennett Allen as well. But, man, that was a weird thing. Looks like a mechanical from Tom Dreiling. I mean, he's running. He's in the middle of 3, and then, that's a wheel disconnected. And, that's so unfortunate for Steve Buchanan, who was just behind him.
Oh, and Jason Wallet had his life flash right immediately in front of his face. Let's watch from Wallet's point of view here.
And Brophy was also very, very lucky.
Now watch this. Keep in mind the laps are, I only went back 15 seconds in time. Laps here about 17 seconds. So when I go back 15 seconds, I'm almost going back a full lap. But watch this. That is a wheel DC with the way that boom. That's, And right in front of. But if we get into Dreiling's car, what we're going to see is, and we'll speed it up a little bit. And
oh my God!
Before he gets there, we'll go back and slow it down. Watch the arms cross up. Well, it didn't cross up as much as I thought. I still think it's a wheel DC. I think you're right, but wow.
I mean, it just looks that way. Like it fully locks to the right. Maybe it doesn't show it in the animation as much, but the line that the car takes is clearly like a full lock onto the right. And I was looking at Brophy. Brophy actually got a ton of damage, but then he was forgiven by the iRacing gods.
Go back and maybe we could see what happened there.
Everybody paid, by the way, except Matt Holliwell, who decided to stay out.
Here is Brophy as he comes through that zone. Maybe I have to go back one more lap. Yeah, maybe one more lap. Yeah, that's what happens. Let's check it out. Let's follow Brophy around as everyone is going through pit stops. I'll go a little bit forward, faster in time there. I want to see how close it was for our leader. I mean, close enough for him to pick up some phantom damage, and then...
Yeah, he goes to the inside of Dryling, and yeah, gets some damage. Maybe it's not as spectacular.
Here it is.
Man, that was very close.
Oh, he's so lucky.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you got the damage as well, but it was a ton of damage, like entirely side push damage. The front right was completely ripped off. He also lost a wing, but luckily for him, iRacing forgive him, and he's all good to go as we're ready to go green. With Matt Holliwell as the leader.
Yeah, with the Alliance, he's with the Satellite Racing Squad now. The career wins leaders at Iowa are Joseph Newgard. He's the undisputed king of corn here with 6 wins in the last 12 races, I think. That's still the count now. Green flag in the air. Hunter Ray has 3. Franchitti, Hinchcliffe each with 2. And last season's winners that you'll see later today when they take to the racetrack. Race 1, Scott McLaughlin. Race 2, Will Power. Green flag back underway. Battle a little bit further on back. Anna Klemick, Ryan Mayer, Seb Alexander.
Tyquila, and that's Matt Kingsbury still making moves. Kingsbury up to 10th now as he made a move on David Henger, a pretty aggressive move at that, but move him up to 10th. And we know that he has been doing it, you know, methodically, and all of it on track.
He is up 14 spots. Our big mover of the race. So shout out to Kingsbury. He's the 17th ranked driver in this split. 24 cars in this split. The strength of field again today, just to remind everybody, was a 43.56, highest strength of field so far this weekend. The IndyCar track record here is a 188.2 set by Scott McLaughlin last year. And would you believe if I told you this, Antonio, that this is one of the few racetracks? I can
also see, I'm sorry, it's Brophy making a move.
Here we go.
Lead. Yeah, sorry to cut you off. But,
let's go watch that again. He dives right underneath Hollenball going into 1. And at this point, Matt realizes he's got the inside. He's got the beat on me. I'm just going to roll out of it a little bit, get back in line, and save some fuel.
Yeah, 100%. But
and keep it out of the wall.
I imagine?
Would you? Would it surprise you if I told you that Scott Dixon has never won a race here?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, Scott Dixon has never won a race here. The second all-time wins leader in IndyCar history, only behind A.J. Foyt. No wins here at Iowa.
What's that change today?
I'm about to say, he's on a bit of a roll right now.
I mean, he could have won Road America, had cautions fell in a little bit of a different rhythm, and then he did that masterclass at Mid-Ohio, you know, and taking into account also the mistake that, very uncharacteristic mistake that Palou had in the closing stages, but he has been there. It wouldn't be entirely surprising. he just hasn't really qualified that great, so he has to dig himself out.
Romero trying to get underneath Lane Holsler, and when he turned down low, coming off the corner, the back end almost came around on him. He caught it, but he's going to have to give up the attack on Holsler in the old Newman Haas throwback that we saw Andretti, as well as Cristiano D'Amata and Christian Fittipaldi drive at points during their career. And here goes Holsler on the high side of Law and scoots on by. Move Holsler up to 16th. Law back to 17th. Romero in 18th. Back up front, Alexander Russell getting around Matt Holleball. Holleball tries to throw a little bit of a fade on Kevin Burrell to hold him back, and he does. So keep Holleball in 4th, Burrell in 5th. And if these two begin to fight like that, okay, I think he just lets them on by. I thought maybe Seb Alexander would be up into that fight, but they wisely get it settled before Seb gets there. Russell now in 3rd.
So I'm starting to see that that second group is coming in a little bit. There are some cars that are using it to great success. Most of them are still going all the way down to the white line, but if you can enter maybe 1.5 groups above it, there are some guys that are getting good runs, a lot of good traction there. I'm currently watching Gonzalo Romero, who's driving a very loose car right now, almost lost it again, chasing Aman Lowell, and he's trying different lanes, and right in front of him of this battle is David Henger and Lane Holsler, who's still trying that higher than he actually makes it by Henger.
Now, we did have some different strategies going on, but everyone stopped again on lap 34, so we're still everybody about on the same. Now everybody exactly is on the same strategy.
Yeah, except Holleball, who actually went into the pits. Everybody else is pretty much even. And something that we didn't mention, Ryan Mayer, who stayed out behind Brophy in that last caution, the first one that we had. He is still in a net positive because in that second caution he came pitted with everybody else, and now he runs safely in 8th in that same strategy that everybody else that's around him.
Gonzalo Romero around Law, now attacking David Enger.
Yeah, and we know that Romero is quick. He started all the way over.
That was a smack of the wall right there.
yeah, maybe not so much a tiny bit. He did hit that. Seems like he hit it square, so he shouldn't have any damage. That was a good lick. But yeah, and we saw him during qualifying. He lost it in his fast lap, so he had to start all the way back in 21st. But we know that he's a fast driver. And I can imagine that our leader is probably closing in. Not quite. Still.
Yeah, 3.4 seconds away from the tail end of the field. We have a little bit of attrition already, 56 laps into this thing. We started with 24. Bennett Allen, Tom Dreiling, Steve Boom Boom Buchanan, who ironically also was in a Sig Sawyer sponsored car, so I think he might appreciate that nickname. He is 23rd, and A.J. Slaughterbeck rounds out the 24-car field here. Early stages, lap 57 of 275. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel so don't miss out on the next race. Lots of stuff going on next week here as things are starting to pick back up here on P1. Indy Open, Indy Oval, Monday nights, Tuesday nights, Monday night doubleheaders. So keep checking us out. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. Get notified when we go live. Back up front, it is Brophy, Akabuezi, Russell, Burrell, Alexander, your top 5. Oh, and we're back to caution. Russell.
Oh,
Russell.
Oh, and Kevin Burrell takes responsibility immediately. He says that it's entirely on him. Now I can see what he means.
And here we see at the tri-oval area, they cross the start-finish line, and Kev just kind of sends it to the inside. And a lot of net code there. I almost said a little net code. A lot of net code. But that move to the inside, I don't think was really going to hold. I think he was going to scoot back up the racetrack a little bit. And the predictive software just kind of got ahead of itself and went ahead and said, oh, we're going to have a wreck here anyways. So let's go back and watch that again here from another angle.
Had he entered a little bit lower, it probably would have stuck. But since he went into kind of like that middle group and not entirely all the way to the bottom to the white line, that's why the car was always going to shoot to the outside. So yeah, I mean, netcode exacerbates it, but yeah, I think it was a little bit of too optimistic of a move.
And those are also two drivers that are overseas. Kevin Burrell coming in from Japan. I think Russell, I think he's coming in from Europe. I could be wrong. You might be able to tell me what club or country he has flagged for himself.
He currently has an American flag.
Okay, well then I'm wrong.
Yeah, and he's from Power Slide. Yeah, that's gonna be day done for him. He made it all the way back to the pits, but he's missing his front left. Yeah, that's race done for him, which is unfortunate. He was running safely inside the top three pretty much all race. We also have Gonzalo Romero in an extended pit stop here. And somehow
he's down in the
Hamilton,
way. Yeah, Cabo Easy came out in front of Brophy. We might be able to go back and look at that here and see what happens.
In chat, he's saying, "I don't know how I managed to get by you."
Now let's watch. Here he comes. Maybe Brophy he slid into his box. Well, Cabo Easy did too. Up on the jacks, down a new set of tires, topping off the tank. And I'm not sure. There goes Brophy. He's behind the scoring. I mean, it helps when the line is right there.
Yeah. I mean, I think
I don't know.
The pit lane time that I have is 40.6 entirely for Hamilton and 40.9 for Brophy. So maybe that's 3/10. But I would imagine that the pit entry for Hamilton was a little bit more aggressive, and that's probably what made the change. Because actually, the pit stop seems to be a little faster for identical or a tiny bit faster for Brophy, and they were still very, very close together. So we'll see what happens once they go back green. Advantage to Hamilton though, because passing cars in clean air, that's very rough.
Yeah, that's one thing that everyone said. On this new scan of the track, that's made passing very difficult. If you enjoy P1's coverage of the IndyCar iRacing Series Saturday Top Split and respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing, and while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so you don't miss out on future P1 iRacing broadcasts. Today's coverage is brought to you by 4D Racewear. Check out their line of made-for-sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 4dracewear.com. Click on their link in the stream description. I would guess a good pair of gloves is very handy for this racetrack.
Oh, man. Yeah, if you don't have a pair of gloves, well, there's me. I would not be able to run these long in this track. As we're going green.
Oh, Kingsbury gets the dropped on Berteau and moves up a spot. Now Kingsbury inside the top 10, up 17 spots to P7.
And closing in a lot on Anna Clemic. Anna Clemic is doing a great race again, like very quietly up to 6th. Or actually, she started 6th, but has been there pretty much the entire race. Now being hounded by Kingsbury, who is able to go a little bit higher. And look at the run that he's going to get here. It's not going to be enough to try and make it to the inside. Let's see here. Better run this time by.
Big run off the corner to the inside. Going into 3. And move Kingsbury up another spot, although he slides high. Clemic comes down low to try to get the switch over, but not going to happen at the line. Holds the position for Kingsbury in P6. Clemic back to 7th. And it looks like the top 5 is kind of spread out a little bit here. Get you some gaps. There they are. Everything's about a half second right now, except for Klimek right behind Kingsbury. But Kingsbury's starting to pull away a little bit. Now can Kingsbury catch Hollenbaugh? Hollenbaugh, ton of starts in these cars.
Yeah, and the closest battle right now is Ryan Mayer closing in on Alan Bertel, trying that high line a little bit.
Alan Bertel, second
all the way to the top.
Second in points in the IIS. No wins, but 8 top 5s and 16 starts. Kevin Burrell, 17 top 5s, 5 wins and 22 starts. Nathan Moore not in the lineup again today, but he is third, powered basically by consistency. 13 incidents and only 16 starts. With all the road courses that they race on here in the IAS, only 13 incidences, 13 X's, in 16 starts. That's amazing. I
mean, I can get 13 X's in like 5 laps. So.
Yeah, that's like 2 laps for me at Road America, you know.
No, that's crazy because many times, especially in road courses where you have, like, we actually went already to Road America, you're going to collect X's just by going maybe a little bit wide here and there. So that's crazy. And
back in 13th, Rashad Craig gets around Hostler. Move Rashad Craig and the Alliance ride up the 13th spot.
But Hostler is not done. He's still using that outside lane to his benefit. But we saw, well, I was looking at Ryan Mayer, and he's still trying to get by Bertel, although they're now using both the same lane. That's not helping his charge. Ryan tried to go all the way to the top, like the typically old top that we would use in the previous scans, and he lost like three tenths easy. And that's just, the car cannot drive there. You have to lift a lot in order to make it work. So you have to make do with the very bottom lane, or that lane and a half, maybe a lane above, in order to make your moves. And, you know, we haven't really seen an entire stint, so we don't know which cars are set up better for longer stints. And, you know, that's going to develop throughout these next, 30 laps or so.
I think we keep watching Kingsbury with his easy in and hard off in terms of the way that you come in and enter the corner and exit the corner. I think that's the method that you really need to use here on the new scan.
Yeah, that's really, really helping get, up 18 spots for him. Although now he has a bit of a gap to Hollenbaugh, which is actually growing. Cars up front, Hamilton 18-1, Brophy 17-9, Burrell 18-2, Seb Alexander 18-2, Matt Hollenbaugh 18-2, then Kingsbury 18-4, and everybody else behind them.
Sorry, Curnow, Clinworth, Quilla, and Craig. God, that's a tongue twister. Almost sounds like a legal firm. But this is a battle for 10th. Throw a blanket over him.
Yeah, I can imagine that at this point, tires might start going up because both Curnow and all these guys from the Alliance were pretty much at the same pace, but now it might be slowing them down quite a bit. You can see that there's a big gap forming between Curnow and Mayer. That's a 3-second gap now, so I can imagine that Clendy wants to move forward as soon as possible, but still, pace seems to be similar. Now he's trying to move to the outside a little bit to see if he can get a run. Not quite.
Curnow, I believe he's coming back from some type of maybe injury or surgery that he had on his hand. Last time we saw him, at least I saw him, was in the Elite Racing League's Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series in the very early season before he went on the disabled list. But he is back now, former winner of the Precision Racing League IndyCar Series, or a former winner of one of their races. Here comes Clendy to the top. And Curnow gets loose and just kind of backs out and lets Clendy go.
Clendy forced him a little bit into that error. He went to his outside, just preventing Kurnow to make the entire arc of the corner. That meant that he was going to come out.
Oh, Craig! Oh!
Does the same thing. Move everybody in front of Kurnow now. Kurnow now. Okay.
That one little bit of a hiccup cost Kurnow 4 spots.
He's still up 9 spots, though. We have been talking a lot about Kingsbury, but Jordan Kurnow up 9 to 13. That's still a pretty good race.
Glendy, he's your defending IndyCar Oval Series champion from last season. Right behind him, Tyquilla. Tyquilla, 9th in points, actually 10th in points here in the IIS this season. Rashad Craig. We see him a lot at these races, always in the running and putting on a good show today here in 12th. He's a former winner here in the IIS.
Yeah, a lot of very decorated drivers in this field.
And back up front, there is a Kabuizi, the 2025A Elite Warriors, Elite Racing League Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series Indy 500 champion. Also won our top split broadcast of the fixed Indy 500. Check those out on the channel. He is currently your leader. Jason Brophy. He's been... go ahead.
No, the good thing for Brophy is that he hasn't let Hamilton out of his sight, right? Like, the gap hasn't grown that much. Their lap times are pretty similar, and in around 2 to 3 laps, Hamilton's going to have to start going through traffic, and we know that that's going to be an interesting thing to do. That's actually Ryan Mayer just went by Anna Klemic. Moved Ryan Mayer up to 8th, Anna Klemic down to 9th. And we'll see how Hamilton navigates the traffic. There's a lot of traffic in front of him. First off, it's going to be David Hanger, who we know is a very fast driver. I mean, that's the other thing. You're not just going to be lapping whomever.
Oof.
Right up front of Hanger, that's Gonzalo Romero, who's making a move, actually, on Jason Wallat. So you're going to have to pass cars that are actually fighting each other. They're going to slow you down.
Well, the thing is, for Hamilton, is he's had clean racetrack up until this point. Now he's got to adjust his tools to account for the traffic. He goes by Anger on the high side, gets by him, but while he's racing him side by side on the high side, the cars in front of him are side by side, filling the high side full of dirty air. But he does get by Hamilton now, getting past the one car, putting them a lap down. Now next up is Gonzalo Romero. Gonzo back in currently 18th spot. Had a bit of an ill-handling car for this race. And he is hanging on at the tail end of the lead lap. We're at lap 94, coming to 95. And he's thinking, boy, I could really use a caution right now. I could use a caution right now. I could use a caution right now. Now's a good time for the caution. And it's not coming.
Yeah, very nice from both Romero and also Wallat to kind of get out of the groove. That allows Hamilton to put a little bit more, ground between himself and Brophy. He has been able to get through traffic much faster and much cleaner than Brophy has. The gap is now up to 1.6 seconds, and seems that Brophy is slowing down a tiny bit compared to Hamilton. Still a long ways to go, though.
Brophy kind of said it himself last time we had him in the booth. Kind of bit of a string of finishing in P2 an awful lot, although I believe he did get a win here this week. In the Wednesday top split for the IIS. He got the win here at Iowa, but lost to his teammate Phil Kraus Tuesday night at Indianapolis on our top split Indy Oval Series broadcast by 0.001 of a second.
It was nothing. I was looking at the picture and it's like, man, what does Brophy have to do to win one of these? Because I can relate to that. I have one. many other races, but never the top split broadcast on Tuesday. So it's like, come on, what do I need to do? Who do I need to wreck?
Who do I need? Who do I need to bribe in order to get this win? We saw him almost get the win in the 2024 Elite Racing League's Warriors for Peace IndyCar Series. Their Indy 500.
Sorry, Kingsbury went all the way to the wall, kind of hit it a little bit. That allows Alan Patel
We'll go back and watch that.
By him.
There we see Kingsbury as he got a little bit higher than he wanted to, and here comes the gray, and that is a good smack right there. That is a good smack. And there you see Berteau, the Frenchman, getting a bead on the low side and getting the spot.
Yeah, last time by, he was around 4/10 slower than Berteau. Let's see if it was something to do with hitting the wall, or if the car has actually some damage. Last time by, Berteau 18.7, Kingsbury
19 flat. Oof, that's not good.
Yeah, not good at all. And that's what we were talking about. Right now we're in that point where
I think is
around a second slower than when you start a stint.
I think his right front wing is showing a little bit of scuffs. At least on my screen it is.
Let's see.
Now, okay, now it fills in. If you all saw that, you know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Everyone at home, I had to zoom in on it, and you saw it just change itself. So he was forgiven a little bit.
I think at this point we're also saying that Kingsbury, and we saw him at the beginning of the stint, he was passing cars left and right. That takes a toll on the tires. I'm right now looking at his right front tire. It's down to almost the threads. That means that this car is not going to turn. It's going to want to go all the way to the wall. He's trying to hold off Mayer, but he's not really succeeding that much. And in a couple of laps, that's going to even black flag him at some point if the tire tread goes so low that they need to hit.
And there you see the wear on that right front tire of his in the in-car shot. We're just over his shoulder right here. He just needs to nurse it to the pits. But 46 laps into this stint, they can go another 20 laps. So he still needs to nurse these tires quite a bit further here, at least in terms of a lap count.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what we were talking about. You can easily make around 80 laps on a tank of fuel. But the tires, if you're not very careful with them from the beginning of the stint, then you're gonna have to nurse the car, lose a ton of speed just trying to make it to your fuel window, or you're gonna have to call an audible and go pit in earlier, which puts you in a little bit of a danger zone because you're gonna lose around 2 laps at least from pitting under green. But last time by 18.9, so still bleeding time, and that has brought Mayer, Klemick, Glenworth, and Rashad Craig to the back of them.
And we're watching currently last lap times here in seconds. That's how fast they're moving around here. Your fastest car at the moment is your leader. Kabuizi currently got him on the screen. That is Ty Quilla in front of him. That is 12th on the racetrack. Ty is 10th at IIS points, so two pretty well-established drivers in the community and in the IIS right here. One trying to hold off the other to stay on the lead lap, but there you see the times. Lap speeds 18 seconds a lap. I mean, that's barely enough time to blink a couple times, and that's about it.
But you can also see, and this is going to be very easy in a way for Hamilton. You can look at his front, as his front tire. It's still shiny. It still has a lot of thread in it. It goes a little bit defensive, but backs out of it. Now he's going to let it by here.
There you see the lap speeds, 170 for Hamilton, 168 for Brophy. That's miles per hour, around a 7/8 of a mile oval. They are trucking right now.
Yeah, but you can look right now at Ty's right front tire, and you're going to see that it has, lost a lot of its shine. It pretty much is not shining at all. And if you compare it to Hamilton's is still looking pretty good.
So, if it's not a shiny tire, then this is a sad tire.
and that's allowing him to, feel that gap. Brophy's tire is also a little bit damaged. And, that happens when you don't have the clean air. Let's remember, Capuese was in front of Brophy from the very beginning of this stint. He has been enjoying clean air, whereas Jason, in trying to stay with him, he has to be very, very close. And that brings dirty air to your car. That makes that you need to turn the wheel a little bit more in order to do the same thing that the car in front is doing. And that wheel bring more wear to your tires. So...
And now put the Oval Series rating champion a lap down. As Klindworth goes a lap down, Hamilton gets by him. Now Hamilton looks at Rashad Craig. He has lapped up to P10. Craig in 10th, right in front of them. Actually, in front of Hamilton is Craig and Anna Klimek. That is a battle for 9th.
Yeah, and there's Rashad's... Ooh, Rain Mare goes through the grass. Right in front of everybody.
What a rejoin. What a rejoin. Oh, no. We're going to watch this again.
Oof. And now they're 3 wide with Anna Klimek, Klindworth, Aquila. They're able to sort it out. Oh, my God.
You got loose off of 4 and then rejoins literally right in front of the leader.
Oh, there's
Romero wrecked off of 4. Or, going into 3, and he toes. Not sure what happened. Coming off of 2. And the back end just comes around, and he slides the inside wall.
What is happening?
We're so late into the run. And now here is Hamilton on the car that has made the most moves to get up to his position. Kingsbury up 17 spots. But Kingsbury just really hasn't been behaving the same since his car smacked the wall about 20 laps ago. So now we're kind of in that period of, there it is. There's the caution. Yeah. And it's, what happened? Rashad Craig.
Rashad.
Oh, and he loses it himself going into the corner. He caught it, and he caught it again, and it just takes off into the wall.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, that's all because of the tires. The tires are gone, and you no longer have the grip that you typically would have, and it acts in erratic ways. So you're hanging on for dear life. We saw it with Romero, we saw it with Craig, and everybody else is going to be like sighing relief because they can get off of those tires and try again.
And that is oversteer on entry, and you do not see that a lot unless the right rear is super warm, and he's been leaning on it quite a bit. And that's maybe what happened. You see a lot of loose on or oversteer on exit, and normally that's because you crank the weight jacker up too much. But oversteer on entry normally is you've just the right rear is spent. Now the problem is for Cabuizzi, who's now on pit road as he's getting service on his car right now. So much for that lead he had. It's gone.
Well, I mean, it is gone, but he still has 4 or 5 cars between himself and Brophy, so...
Yeah, and he has quite a few lap cars between himself and Brophy. Behind Cabuizzi is Kingsbury, Klindworth, Klimek.
Mare.
And Mare.
Then we have, Brophy.
Then you got Brophy.
And we also have a couple of guys that are going to try and get their lap back. It's Ty Aquila, it's Robert Nelson, and David Hanger. So these guys are going to take the wave around. They're going to be back in the lead lap. But they're going to be on those super old tires.
They're going to be on 64-lap old tires. And they're going to want to hope for a quick and instant caution almost.
Yeah, if an immediate caution comes out, they're going to be sitting pretty because now they can pit and they can, get back in the rhythm. But if that doesn't happen, they're going to need to pit on the green, and nobody else will. So they're just going to go down 2 laps But it's a gamble that you can make, and if it works, you look like a genius. Although with the field also, thinning out, it gets less and less likely that we're going to have incidents. At least in the restarts, we saw that we got a ton of them once once the run has been old enough.
Yeah. And now I think Ty wanted to get a start on that, getting that lap back, and had to wait a little bit. And they are getting the wave around. So Ty's going around. Robert Nelson in the yellow Submarine. He is getting the wave around, and David Enger getting the wave around. So that will move the top, those three from 7th, 8th, and 9th back to the tail end of the lead lap. Top 9 on the lead lap. As we will go green next time by. If you're just joining us, you are watching coverage of round 11 of 16. Now, like I said, can you believe it? We're already round 11 of this season of the IIS Saturday Top Split presented by 4D Racewear, coming to you from Iowa Speedway. We've completed now 127 of 275 scheduled laps. If you're enjoying today's coverage, like to monetarily support our commentary team, make sure you donate via our GoFundMe link. It is in the description. You can also find the link pinned at the top of chat. Green flag in the air. Your leader takes off, and he has a whole bunch of, let's say, padding between himself and P2.
Yeah, a lot of guys between themselves. Here comes Brophy making his way by Ryan Mayer. And also looking back at the cars that took the wave around, Tyler is actually making a move here on Lane Hosler.
Lane Hosler, yeah.
Sounds to me like there might be a little bit of damage in that car, because now we also see Nelson going by. Back up front, Brophy able to make it by Anna Klemek. But just like that, the gap's already up to 2.4 seconds. And Hamilton went purple last time by with a 17.91. And Brophy, because he's stuck in traffic, last time by 18.3.
And some of these same drivers, you can catch them again here on P1 in December when we become the prime time home for Happy Hour at the Brickyard, your nightly destination for all the action leading up to the prestigious PRI Hoosier 500. The last kiss of the bricks for 2025 is going to start right here. The countdown is on. Everybody pucker up and don't miss a second of the action. Like, share, and subscribe to stay locked in. And we will see you back here on P1 one more time, kissing the bricks at Indianapolis before the end of the year in December.
You're really looking forward to that. And these guys, Nelson and Hinger, who just got back in the lead lap, they trying to make it a 3-wide. I mean, they probably are looking for somebody else to join them in, making that 3-wide start as we do as Indianapolis. But right now they're going side by side, and they have been going at it for the last lap and a half. Finally, Hinger gets by Nelson. I would imagine that these guys would not be, being so aggressive with those 60-old
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I think they would want to just make friends rather quickly, get in line. Right now, I would say Nelson's probably in the better position where he could save a little bit of fuel. And the best he could do right now is a tiny bit, because these guys have been out for now 75 laps, and we expect them to come in into about the 80s of their run. Their tires are probably screaming at them right now, but they are probably screaming in the cockpit for that caution flag they badly need. Ooh, big wiggle for Robert Nelson coming off of 4.
Somebody that we haven't really talked a lot about, Seb Alexander, has been very, very methodical, has been all day in the top 5, currently running 4th. He's closing in a tiny bit on Kevin Burrell. Last time by, he was a tiny bit faster. And Burrell right now has to try and make it by Kerr now. That's probably helping Seb Alexander reel him in, because we know that Kurnow is fast. It's just that after a while, once the split, once we were running for so many laps, he kind of destroyed his tires. But he has pace. Burrell now looking to the inside.
Each one giving a lot of room. Burrell, of course, knows that he's coming in from Japan, so there's going to be the netcode bubble around his car.
Now it's Seb's turn to make it by. Kurnow gets out of the way. That's very nice from him. Brophy is now finally getting close to Matt Kingsbury, who's the last car between himself and Hamilton. But we also know that this car has a lot of pace.
Yeah, maybe he got some work done in the pits. There are no fast repairs in this series. So on the last stop, maybe he got some work. They were able to get some damage taken care of, but he is not at the same pace he was when he stormed up through the field, up 17 spots. Right now, he's actually lost 3 spots since he was at his peak of 17. He's up 14, tied right now with Robert Nelson in the Yellow Submarine. He's also up 14 spots. But Brophy on around him, and now Brophy in direct contact, I believe, with Hamilton. No, I think he's got one more car in front of him. He's got Nelson there.
Yeah, Robert Nelson, he was racing with Hanger a couple laps ago. We were talking about it. But those tires, and we mentioned it here, comes, I think, Nelson. No, he turns another lap. I thought he was coming into the pits. Those tires are gone. Like, really, really,
yeah,
really gone.
He might look at the middle of the quarter. Wow.
I mean, you should not be doing that, honestly.
I think I would have probably pitted as soon as the leader passed me.
Yeah, because there is realistically no point now.
Yeah.
It's a hazard in a way. The speed difference is crazy. Look at Landworth, and look at the speed in the corner. It's around 10 to 15 mile per hour difference.
Yeah, Clindy 168, Nelson a 158.
Yeesh. Last time by, 20-second lap time for Nelson. Everybody else is in the 18.5s. It's a 1.5 second difference over a 7/8 of a mile short oval. That's a lot.
And up in front of him is Inger and Quilla. And they're both at 87 laps into this run. So they are coming to pit road any time now. And I would imagine they're in the same boat. They just got back on the lead lap, but that's what new tires versus really old tires. They're already down a lap now. They've lost their lap yet again after getting it back from the wave around.
Yeah, for that to work, you needed a caution immediately.
Oh, Brophy gets to the back end of Quilla really quick, but manages to maintain the pace and just get the angle and get underneath him.
Oh, and Nelson just missed pit lane entry. He's going to have to do another lap. That's a very tricky pit lane to come into. And you can see, if you're focused on him, look at the right front tire. You can see the threads coming out of it.
Oh, wow.
That tire is gone.
Wow. There you see, folks. This is how good graphics are getting with these games. You can clearly see it.
So, Hanger pits, Nelson final pits. Ty Quilla is calling in that he's pinning. He also has the tires down to the threads. Last time by for Quilla, 20.4. So, I mean, again, if we go back to what we were saying during the caution, I understand the gamble. Like, if you get a caution immediately, then you're back in it. But if you don't, you already lost a lap because you were going so much lower than everybody else. And now because of the entire pit sequence, that's probably going to be another 2 laps. So you're going to be 3 laps down to the leader, 2.5 if you're a little bit lucky. And that's pretty much a race ender for all of these guys that stayed out. Wow, look at the tire on Ty Quilla's car. Well, just got changed. But completely grained, completely destroyed.
Well, the camera angles after they've adjusted this track with the new scanner, not good. Have to work on those. But here's Akabuizi, your leader now by 1.7 seconds over Jason Brophy. These guys are 32 laps, 31 laps for most of the guys behind them into their stint. So we expect them to be out here for another, I would say they're about halfway through their runs if they want to stick with this. That would put them kind of making last stops.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't know if they could make it. They need to get closer to 200. They need to get a lot closer to 200 to make it one more stop.
I think they can.
Okay.
Because they last speeded on 124. They still saved a little bit of fuel there. So if we add 80 to that makes it that gets you easily to the 200 lap mark, and that's your last pit stop. If we don't have any caution, these guys are just looking for one more trip.
There is Burrell, your series points leader. I'm kind of talking with him in the past. He's like, long as I could keep getting the podium finishes, he feels pretty good about the campaign. He is a former IIS champion, looking to get another crown to add to his collection.
Oh, Robert Nelson back in pit road. I think he got a penalty. So to add insult to injury. Oh, man. Right now, 7 laps down for Robert Nelson. Let's see, 3 laps down for Ty Quilla. David Henger, 10 laps down. Oof. Something must have happened to him as well.
Actually showing Enger out of the race.
Oh, yeah, he disconnected. So the thinning of the herd continues. We're down to, 16 cars running. And that is 6 cars in the lead lap. Akabuizi, Brophy, Burrell, Alexander, Bruto, and Olivo. And that's your top.
Antonio bringing Darwinism into IndyCar racing.
I mean, I'm just calling it like I see it, man. They're doing it themselves. It's not me.
The closest battle on the racetrack. There's not very many of them. Seb Alexander is creeping in on Kevin Burrell just a little bit. Hollenball is also catching up to Brito just a little bit, but nothing firm yet in terms of a battle for position.
Yeah, perhaps Curnow and Lal, they're also very close together, and they're right in front of the leader. We're imagining that there are teams, I imagine that they're going to work together, but if they're not and they just chose the same paint scheme, well, that could spell a little bit of trouble for Hamilton, although the separation is good enough, and the tire difference is, I mean, look at the speed difference from Hamilton to Lal here. That also accounts for, the setup that these guys are driving, but the clean air, man, so good for the tires.
It is priceless.
Brophy right now is 2.5 seconds behind Hamilton. Just made it by Lane Holsler. Looking to make it by Jason Wallat, currently running 13th.
Here comes Hamilton underneath one of the 2 teammate cars there of Curnow and Lal. He's going to go by Curnow, putting him 2 laps down.
Yeah, this race can be very, very demanding in that regard. We were looking at the results of one of the other races, and second place ended up 2 laps down third place was 3 laps down, and that's some pace.
Yeah.
That can tell you a little bit about the difference that a good setup can make, like from a good setup to a great setup, right? And it's tough. It's tough to hang around for 275 laps, especially if you don't get a lot of breaks. Like if you get caution, at least you get a little bit of a breather there. But if you don't, well, you're in for a tough ride. Looks like Hosler is closing in a little bit more on Jason Wallat. Taking a little bit of a diamond line here. Trying to close in on him. But again, right now they're 50 laps into their stint, right? So that means that the tires are not going to be responding as well. As you can see, he tried to go to the inside. Wallat took the same line that fed him dirty air and shut the car up. That means the car will not turn, and they lost 3/10 in that entire fracas that happened there.
So the dirty air envelope, or the draft envelope as I call it, on these cars is right about 1.5 seconds. And once you get into that envelope, you get the benefit of the draft on the straights, just like you see right here, but you get the disadvantage of the dirty air of the car coming in front of you, not getting air to your front wing planes to help with the downforce of the front of this car. So the next thing you have to do is adjust your line, which you just saw there. Hosler decides to go up a lane higher than Wallat, and there he's getting better air on his front tires, but it's a longer way, better air on his front wing, excuse me, but it's a longer way around the racetrack, so he's not gaining as much time. So it is a big battle of give and take. If you've never raced these cars, it's a lot more than just turning left and keeping your foot buried into it. You're adjusting your tools, you're changing gears. There's a whole lot of stuff going on here. So if anyone thinks that oval racing in an IndyCar is a piece of cake, I challenge you to come try it. I've seen a lot of NASCAR drivers that race the 10 tops in NASCAR in this on this sim just flat out go, man, that's too hard. I can't do that.
I'm right back at them. Whenever I strap into a NASCAR race car, I clearly don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, I try it from time to time. I enjoy it, but it's very hard. Yeah, there are different disciplines. Here's Hosler trying to take a closer look now. But yeah, among all the stuff that you just mentioned, you also need to take into account the strategy. Fuel saving. Hosler gets a good run here, gets loose. Your tools, making sure that maybe you can change also something with how the car is behaving with your in-car tools. You can change the weight jacket. You can change the weight of the bars, like the stiffness of the bars. You can change your fuel map. How much fuel are you going to be using during a lap, etc. So there are a lot of things that you need to be. As Hosler goes to the inside now, he's probably very happy that was given to him. Look at Wallat. He has not been running on the outside, and it shows. Goes way out to the top, and just like that, there's a difference of 0.7 of a second in an instant. But yeah, you pretty much have to do that. You have to set up a pass laps in advance.
IndyCar is a big game of long game chess. You're not just planning for that lap, but you're often planning for laps ahead.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, Hollenbaugh loose off the corner. He is in 6th spot. Now our leader is looking to put 6th place a lap down.
Yeah, it looks like Matt has been struggling a little bit the last couple of laps. And Hamilton is able to place his car wherever he wants. Oh,
almost.
A bit of a brush of the wall. Yeah.
It's one of those races you just don't want to give it away.
And in front of them, Alberto went by Anna Kalamick. Kalamick still running 9th.
Kalamick is trying to catch Clindy 2 cars ahead of herself. There is Clindy there in the teal car. This is a bit of a home race for him. Not exactly a home race, but he enjoys his corn. Let's put it that way. There you see a corn cob. We can get a corn stalk. Let's get it closer up with the car there. Right there on his left rear pod there. And a right rear pod. That's for his sponsor, Segerman Farms. Yep.
No, I was just going to say, Sable Alexander has really closed in on Kevin Burrell now. 0.2 of a second difference right now.
Yeah, he's right there. He will watch this battle as it unfolds. Alexander.
Faster.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that Seb has been faster the last 5 laps. Right now, they're kind of running the same lane. But Seb is able to go a little bit below. That gives a tiny bit of fresh, clean air to his left front tire. Now he's going to have a good run here as Burrell goes all the way to the outside. They're going to be a little bit side by side here. Yeah, there's a wing in front. Seb Alexander up to 3rd now.
And he knows he needs to move now, especially as he might be set up for later, the car to behave later in a run. And also the leaders are not that far behind him, really.
Yeah, they're closing in.
About a half a lap.
Yeah, Hamilton is closing in. I mean, he already went by Alan Bertot, so that means we only have 4 cars running in the lead lap. That's Hamilton Akabese, Jason Brophy, Seb Alexander, and Kevin Burrell. As Hamilton is trying to put Clendy 2 laps down, and he does. Clendy running 8th. We know how fast he is, so again, it shows you a little bit of the difference between a good and great setup.
And here are the weather conditions again. It's cooled off a little bit. We saw a peak of 135 degrees. We're now at 128 degrees on the track temperature, 86 degrees on the ambient. Here we see a pass, not for position. That's Bertot getting around Clindy. Bertot in 5th spot. One of 2 cars 1 lap down. Only Bertot and Hollenball are 1 lap down. As Hamilton approaches Jason Wallet in 14th to put him another lap down. He stays high, lets him go.
Right now we are at that window. If you come and pit right now, you're good to go to the end. Of course, these guys are going to extend it as much as possible to make that shorter.
You don't want really 70-old lap-old tires to really finish this race off if you can get away with it.
Yeah, no. You're going to wait it out as long as possible, and just when you're like dry in the tank, and that's when you're going to come in and put your new set of tires. And if another caution comes out, you're also going to pit. Everybody's going to pit. But yeah, I mean, I just keep looking at the difference. Right now, 4 tenths faster Hamilton than Brophy, and we know that they have very similar setups. So we can chalk that up to the clean air. Hamilton has been benefiting from that, the entire second half of the race. We saw that at the beginning with Brophy. Brophy was, enjoying the clean air, being a little bit faster than everybody else, and that just shows you how much that can help in tire management.
Now, I guess the question is, and we might have to find out during post-race when we get to the interviews, if Hamilton does win this thing or gets on the podium, how much of this setup actually can you buy from P1 Docks? Because they're putting on a great show right now. And P1 Docks, they are a setup shop, and they do sell setups for IndyCars. And if you're thinking about participating in the IIS and you are afraid of, hey, I don't have a good setup or anything, case in point, your leader represents a setup shop. I would imagine their setup is not too... I would imagine there's some special sauce in the setup. Let's be real with one another. You know, there's some special sauce in there, but I would imagine that the base setup that they use probably isn't too far from what they're selling on their website.
Oh, somebody missed their pit stop. That's Matt Hollibo. He went in, tried to pit, missed pit entry, has to go another lap.
Yeah, when you get those tires that old, the car just doesn't really want to stop. Emery Anderson's asking, I just found the stream of the leaders made their final stop. No, leaders are getting ready to make their final stops right about now as Hollenball again missed pit road.
Oh. Yeah, Kingsbury's calling his pit stop. I was watching him for the last couple laps down to the threads again. Let's see if he's able to stop the car. There he goes, and he's gonna miss it. Oh, everybody's missing pit entry. That's also Ryan Mayer, who's going to try and back out. That's not advised. Don't do that.
There's
Guys, don't do that.
Hollenball gets through this time. He's like, threaded the needle that time. Okay.
Here comes Kingsbury, who actually ran out of fuel apparently as well.
Oh gosh. And this is a very hard pit road to get on. Very hard pit road to get on.
Look at his right front tire, man. It's just gone. Looks like Brophy is calling in. Yep, Brophy's coming in this time by.
Seb Alexander on pit road. Brophy coming by to pit road now. He's on. He had to work to get down on the lane. Right in front of him is Ty Quilla coming to pit road? No, that is Alan Berteau. Sorry. I was looking at the wrong green car.
Hamilton went in quite fast. I thought for a second that he might get a black flag. He didn't.
So this is your final stops to get to the end.
Yeah, and it's going to be a much more manageable 65 lap stint. They're still going to need to take care of their tires, but should be much better.
Oh, Burrell misses his marks and had to back up, and he's got to the threads and the portions of the tires that we don't want to see shown at the end of a stint. He's down to the tread there. Gosson on the racetrack.
Caution. Yeah, what happened here?
Glindy's going to stay out. I'm not sure. Oh, Jordan Kernow. And we'll see what happens. He just loose in the middle of the corner.
He lost it.
And does he make contact with the wall? Oh.
No, he saved it.
Oh. But Glindy was coming to pit road. He had to drive out of it.
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
So
But that's actually going to keep him on the lead lap, I think.
Yeah, it is. That's going to be good for him. He was at lap 87. Now, Kabuizi, Brophy, Alexander, the top three just stopped. Burrell just stopped. Berteau just stopped. Unfortunately, Burrell now trapped a lap down because of where he pitted and when the caution came out. And Glindy, just by staying out and stopping on pit road now, he is the most fortunate person out of this whole incident right here. He is now in fourth spot back on the lead lap, and he's going to have the freshest tires of out of everybody.
Yeah, that's actually going to be pretty good for him. Also, Anna Klemic cut the caution right when she was pitting. She was 2 down, now she's only 1 down, so also helping and benefiting her. Because after that, we have Hollibo running 8th, 2 laps down, Quilla 2 laps down, than everybody else. But yeah, it's going to be Hamilton and Kabuizi running first. Then Jason Brophy, Seb Alexander, Kyle Clenworth is going to rejoin this race in 4th, all the way back, behind absolutely everybody. But hey, that's a net gain of like 7 positions. I think he was running around 11th, 10th, something like that.
Yeah,
and we're going to have a good dash to the finish here.
Virtual high fives all around the room for the Rogue Racing and the Alliance team members, as Clindy now up the fourth, and he's going to join one of his Alliance mates, Seb Alexander, in third. Then we got private label Team Hype Power Slide entry of Jason Brophy in second, and Fiercely Forward in first. So the community teams are showing the results right now on the racetrack, as we are under caution at lap with 63 to go here. Final stops have been completed. Everyone should be done to go to the distance. We do have unlimited tires, so if we get into one of those situations that kind of benefited like Ryan Hunter-Ray about 10 years ago, where he could come in and get a fresh set of tires and then put passes on everybody in the late stages of the race and win, there's still that possibility if they catch a caution at the right time. But really, this racetrack, with the way that it races right now, aside from having new tires, track position truly means everything. And right now, Hamilton and Akabuizi has controlled that track position and the lead for much of the day, well over 160 laps led, as he is getting ready to bring the field to green next time by. Lights are out on the pace car. It is Akabuizi, Brophy, Alexander, Clindy, your top four, all on the lead lap. Kevin Burrell in fifth. I guess we could say right now best in class for those that aren't on the lead lap. There are three cars one lap down, Burrell, Ruteau, and Anna Klimek. They are now fifth, sixth, and seventh on the racetrack, and that's where we got the situation coming back to green flag this time by.
Yeah, and it's still not going to be that short of a stint. Still going to be 60 laps if it goes green from here to the end. So they're still going to need to make sure that their char stays intact for the most part. As green flag is out. Great jump from Hamilton. He still has four cars between himself and Brophy, though. So
Brophy's got to be thinking, come on, man.
Yeah. As he's trying to make it by Ryan Mayer here. Going to the inside, Brophy is. Makes that happen. Makes it move work. But now he's going to have a teammate to Akabuizi. That's Kevin Burrell. It doesn't need to let Brophy by, of course. But Brophy makes a good move here. Yeah, he needs to hustle. Purple lap for Hamilton, though.
178.9. But Brophy not too far off the pace, and he's getting ready to put a move on another car. And now there's only one car between himself and Hamilton, and that is Hollaball right in front of him. And Akabuizi again with the purple lap, a 179.1.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of our jaws in the booth here, like, oh. As closers be closing right here. Akabuizi putting the big laps down in the final stages here of the 275 at Iowa. We do not do a doubleheader in the IIS, just one race this weekend. Next time you will see us on the air for the IIS is next Saturday, when we come on for Montreal, as it stands in for Toronto. So we have Circuit Gilles Villeneuve next weekend. Please join us right here, 2 p.m. Eastern time, right here on P1.
Always a ton of fun. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve.
I'm just now looking forward to Laguna Seca, 90 laps of Laguna Seca. Even for us broadcasters, that is a long race.
Yeah, we have to think about what we're going to say now.
But if you're going to be in a cockpit that long, that means you need some comfortable clothes to begin. And you might want to check out the Sim Racing Wear at 4D Racewear, the proud sponsor and presentating sponsor of the IAS Saturday Top Split. Check them out at 4dracewear.com. Link is in the description. Get yourself a pair of racing boots. Get yourself a nice breathable shirt or a set of gloves for these long races. Check them out, 4dracewear.com. Your presenting sponsor of the IIS here on P1 for Saturday's Top Split. 52 to go as Brophy, we ride over his shoulder, trying to run down Akabuizi, 1.2 seconds behind.
Yeah, in the meantime, I'm watching Matt Kingsbury, who, had to go back, ran out of fuel, but the caution kind of saved him. Right now, he's hounding Ryan Mir. That's for P11. They're going side by side right now, entering turn 1. We know that Kingsbury has a lot of pace,
Whoa.
and especially with new
into
tires.
the inside wall, man!
Oh, no.
And that's going to bring out the caution. No, it's not. It's not. He is on the racing line, but nope, the caution's not coming, and he has a tow.
The officials deciding that, he's probably fine.
Yeah, he's well enough out of the line. Let's go back and watch this. We'll slow it down right when he starts to slide.
That's such a bummer. Ryan Mir had been doing a great job running in the top 10 pretty much the entire race. Just lost it.
Yeah. And normally, again, oversteer on exit, loose on exit, normally means a little too much weight, Jacker.
Yeah, probably.
And abusing that right rear. Brophy now 1.1 seconds to Hamilton.
Last time by, he was 100th of a lap faster than It's faster. He's catching, technically.
With the margins being so close as they are with real world and sim racing IndyCar, I guess take your victories where you can find them.
They're 1/10 now. This time by. Last lap time 18.27 for Hamilton, 18.19 for Brophy. Yeah, he's being a little bit faster now. Gap is down to 1.05. 82 for Hamilton, 81 for Brophy. He's
got it under a second.
Now.
Got it under a second. Trying to unwind that wheel sooner and sooner and sooner, kind of off the corners. Get the car going straight faster, or sooner, so it can go faster. But only so many opportunities are presented to him with 43 to go. He's now back to a second lead, Hamilton. Maybe he's playing with him. Although, really, if I'm looking at my competition and I'm playing with my food like this, I think the person if I'm racing Brophy, that's the least amount of food I want to play with right there. I don't want to play with that food because he will run you down and come get you.
Yeah, don't play with your food. It's never a good idea, and especially if it's so experienced. Last time by 18.3 for Hamilton.
Hamilton's in lap traffic.
A little bit of traffic, yeah. And I'm sure at this point, Brophy is like, man, every time that I get, in direct contact, there's somebody else in the middle that Hamilton is able to catch and pass. And nothing that Robert Nelson is doing wrong. He's just running his lane. But that feeds Brophy dirty air. So he gets out of the way, very gentlemanly thing to do. But still, 18.409 for Hamilton, 18.474 for Brophy. So that's 7/10 gone. Oh, 700 actually.
Hamilton trying to get around now. That is Lal. Brophy now within 8/10. Running him down lap by lap, little by little, but now this time Akabuizi around the lap traffic. Next lap traffic for him is Quilla, 1.6 seconds. Oh, Brophy. That's going to cost him. He lost a 10th right there in the corner by itself. Just bad timing.
Yeah, a little bit of bad timing, and the other thing is sometimes you kind of need to do a little bit of give and take, especially if you know that you're not really racing for anything, and give a little bit more room. But Easier said than done, of course. They're still closing in. Ty Quilla right in front of Hamilton. I mean, shout out to Ty. He was in that kind of losing strategy, which again, it's you roll the dice, right, to try and make something happen. And he went multiple laps down, but he's still, in the top 10, running 9th right now. So with all the bad luck that could have befallen him, and we saw that it happened to David Hanger and Robert Nelson, well, he's still hanging here, running P9.
And let's just to remind people, we came in showing you came on the air showing you the points, and here are the points: Burrell, Bruteau, Moore, Ethan Egan, Ethan Morris, Logan Edwards, Anna Klimek, Will Weiser, Blaze Andrich. The 4 Alarmer doing pretty good in P9. Ty Quilla in 10th. There's your top 20 in the IIS. But only Burrell, Bruteau, Klimek, and Quilla in the top 10 made this race. So they are looking to gain just a little bit of the people ahead of them in the points, because this is the biggest strength of field race this weekend. Of the 4 time slots of the IIS during IIS race weeks, this is the biggest time slot, biggest strength of field so far. There's one more race after this on Sunday that could go higher.
That's gonna be big points for most of these guys, because we have Anna Klimek running 7th, we have Ty running 9th, of course Kevin running 5th. That's gonna be very good for his campaign. Alan Bretard running 6th. So these guys are being very, very consistent, and they have been throughout pretty much most of the season, and that's why you can find them in the top 10, duking it out.
And Burrell, as he's right now, if the race were to end, we still have 28 laps to go. He would be finishing ahead of all his key competitors, key challengers in the championship. Yeah. So this is, even though he has shown 1 lap down in the race order today, that might not be a good race day stat-wise for him. It's going to be a good finish points-wise for him, as he is looking to extend his points lead as we wind down this season. We have
pretty much. We have pretty much all merchants here in the top 4.
And remember, we are the season. A real IndyCar season is done at the end of August, so we are on the doorstep of the season being complete in the real world. And when it completes in the real world, it's going to complete here.
$25 laps to go. I remember we were just talking about 60 to go a couple minutes ago. That's how fast things happen here. The difference right now, the gap between Brophy and
it's doubled. It's doubled. Yeah, it is doubled since it got right back to kind of a 1.1, 1.2, and then all of a sudden it doubled. Maybe Jason has decided that the second place is where he's going to finish again. He's got 1 win this season, but he said it when he finished next to Phil at Indianapolis on Tuesday night. He's like, oh, another second place finish.
Yeah.
There's a pretty famous IndyCar driver that made a career on finishing second. Practically won a national championship just by finishing second. That's Tom Siva, so there's nothing wrong with finishing second. You get your dubs every now and then. You get your dubs every now and then.
Yeah, for sure.
There's Seb Alexander. He's worked his way into the 3rd spot, looking at the bottom step of the podium about 20 laps from now, if he can hang on. He's been working really hard at these open setup events, and it shows. The practice and the time putting into the car is paying off. I often say, when it comes to this car, the IR18 on the iRacing service, that iron sharpens iron. The more you put into these cars, the more you get out of them. And that's also a reason
100%.
why in these 100% length races, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Also, one of the reasons why in these 100% length races that you typically see the cream of the IndyCar community crop rise to the top.
No, yeah, I'm just gonna agree with you. I mean, 100%. The more you put into this car, the more you're gonna get out of it, and it also means you need to do a lot of repetition. If you don't do it, if you don't put in the work, how you expect things to be different, right? So yeah, no, kudos and shout out to them, both Seb, Kyle, and everybody in the alliance. They have been really putting the work in the open setup side of things, and it's showing.
Yeah, the Alliance had 2 cars on the podium in the Friday evening race. Will Lyon and Jesper Ormond finished 2nd and 3rd there. And they're looking at putting another car on the podium here for the 2 p.m. Eastern Saturday race. And another car in the top 5.
Just like that, we're 15 to go.
Yeah.
Hamilton is closing in on Matt Hollywood there. He's going to put him 2 down.
Remember, the next race for us is next week. This series heads to Montreal to stand in for Toronto. Coverage starts at 2 p.m. Eastern on Saturday. Don't miss it.
Oh, car in the wall. That's Kevin Burrell. Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Turn 4. Car in the wall. That's Kevin Burrell.
That is, he can't get down. He is stuck on that wall.
Yeah, that's
and there it is. The caution is out.
What happened? What
I'm gonna have to speed it up here a little bit.
Oh.
I think it's the next time around is when he has the problem.
Well, that kind of changes everything.
And I think we're late enough in the race as well. Oh, big loose off of 2. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he overcorrects a little bit, but that car was evil.
All right, so let's go back and watch this here as he gets loose off of 2, and then he catches it, and it goes right back into the wall. Kind of similar to what happened with Rashad Craig a little bit, as he caught it, and then the front end bit and took him right to the wall. And that is a day-done hit for our points leader.
Yeah, that's going to move him all the way down to 15th, probably. Man. So that means that his championship is far from over.
Right, yeah. Hamilton coming to pit road. He's like, I am not going to finish this race on those old tires. I am going to go slap on a new set. And Brophy's like, I will see your new set with a set of my own. And Seb Alexander does the same thing. Klindy does the same thing. At this point, only the top 4 on the lead lap, although I think Klimek stayed out.
Yeah, I was going to call that out. Klimek was just 1 down, so if she... No, I think she did pit. No, she stayed out.
Yeah.
So she's going to come back into the lead lap, and she's probably going to be the last car. Yeah, she's going to be the last car on the lead lap.
So this is I would call this, for me, if I was in her position driving this car, this is a minor victory here. To come back after being laps down in a 275-lap race here in the IIS, open setup race at that, to work my way back up to the lead lap and finish in the top 5. I would consider that a pretty good victory, a minor victory for my effort. I'm not getting necessarily the best finish in the world, but a top 5 when it's all said and done with, and the finish on the lead lap, I would say it's a pretty good day.
I mean, I think it's amazing. She was running P9 for most of the race, then got. I remember when she was on pit road for the previous caution, that's when it dropped. That gave her 1 lap back. And now the caution actually comes in at the perfect time because Brito had already been lapped. So, yeah, that's going... No, Brito actually pit. So, yeah, that's going to put her in the lead lap. And if she can bring it home, it's going to be a top 5. And now we're going to have a very interesting battle because Everybody needs to go to the back. There are not going to be any cars between your two leaders here.
Yeah.
Not sure that Hamilton wanted to see this at all, but we know that he's great at defending. Cars are taking the wave around. We're going to go green at the end of this lap.
And so, yeah, and Anna needs to haul butt because I believe she needs to pass all the cars in front of her to get behind Clindy. I think. Yeah. Unless the wave around just says you just join the end of the field. I want to say she's eligible for
the wave around.
Yeah.
That's it.
I can't recall if she's eligible for those positions with the wave around or not. I don't think. Yeah. Now looking on how the field's kind of slowing down, I don't think so. Yeah. She will just at that point kind of cruise and bring it home for a top 5.
Yeah, but we're gonna have a fight here up front. Green and Hamilton wastes no time, but great launch also by Brophy. He's finally close to Hamilton. Oh, gets a good run here.
Yeah, good run down the backstretch. And if these guys get a little bit too argy-bargy, the guys behind them, the guys behind them are going to benefit. Here we go. Down the front straight, into one. Brophy down low. He keeps the car there. Side by side with Hamilton. They come off the corner, side by side, drag race down the backstretch. Here comes, he gets a bit of a nose out front, Brophy. He's going to lead that lap. Brophy can clear him. He goes purple, 181.5. And he's your new leader with 6 to go.
Oh, man. What a move.
And Hamilton did not want to see that.
No.
He did not want to see that caution, and he did not want to see that pass. And now Brophy sets the purple lap again with a 183.3. Closers be closing, and that's what he's doing. He's trying to throw the door shut on the guy that's dominated this day. Hamilton Akabuizi, your leader now with 4 to go here at Iowa. And another purple lap for Brophy, 183.4. Caution in this race is over.
Who was it? Lane Big Holzer. Oh, just going to the wall. Oh, that collects Hollybow.
Oh, and that's got to be just awful. That Hollybow. Yeah, he gets hit. He might be able to bring that car home and limp it home here. I think that's what he's going to do. But, yeah, to come so far, to get so close to the finish, and to have an incident with 3 to go, 4 to go, that is disheartening. But I believe that's going to be the race. I believe that's going to be the race. I do not think we got time to go green. Thank God we got no green-white checkers here in IndyCar. I know for sure Brophy's saying that, but I'm a firm believer of it. Coming to 2 to go at the line. Brophy's going to get the win. And for the man that's finished second an awful lot, he's going to get his second win here on the Iowa Oval this week here in the IIS. Hamilton probably not going to be so happy on the finish. We will talk to him about the thoughts of the late caution and the restart in the interview, if he chooses to want to speak to us. These are long races and very tiring races, so I blame anybody for wanting this. I do not blame anybody for not wanting to do an interview. Trust me. Brophy, though, is going to get the win here. He will take the white flag next time by. Seb Alexander, bottom step of the podium. And Seb has been in the top 5 virtually the entire day. And that is a very well-earned result for him. And Clindy, very quietly, but a little bit of luck helped this guy. And our Indy Oval Series reigning champion is going to come home 4th. And then right behind him is Anna Klimek. There's Anna. She's just going to cruise on home for it's going to be a very satisfying cherry on top of the day. Top 5 for Anna Klimek and P5, Alan Berteau. P6, and Alan is actually going to gain the most out of the leaders in points, as he's going to be the best finisher out of the top 3 in the points. And the highest strength of field race of the week. He's going to come home 6th. Tyquilla. That's going to help him in this top 10 campaign for points. He is going to come home 7th. Kingsbury, been quiet pretty much second half of the race since he smacked the wall. We're not sure what type of damage he has, but he's still going to finish 16 spots better and come home in 8th. Good race for him. Good debut here on the top split. Good to have him here. Matt Hollaball, Satellite Racing Squad. He's going to come home ninth with a missing front wing and an injured car limping from that final caution. And Jordan Kernow coming off the disabled list onto the top 10 list. Top 10 for Jordan Kernow here in the IIS.
Man, that was a great restart. I mean, what won the race for Brophy was being able to just time the restart perfectly. Like, he went right when Hamilton went. That allowed him to get side by side as Brophy takes the checkered flag. He is your winner today at Iowa on the IAS. But man, again, what a restart. What a reaction. That was pretty cool to see. And then it was a drag race, right? So, on one end, I'm a little bummed that Hamilton lost it. On the last restart, he had dominated it pretty much the entire race. But on the other, I'm also very happy for Jason. So, it is what it is. It happens. You get cautions that scramble things and makes for unpredictable finishes. But it was a ton of fun. And congrats to Jason Brophy on getting the win. Yes, Brophy's gonna do a little bit of a Polish lap.
Being that I have Polish heritage, I appreciate that. Brophy with the win under caution. Kabuizi second. Has Seb Alexander in third. That is your podium. Glendy Klimek, Bruteau, Quilla, Kingsbury, Halaba, and Kernow is the remainder of your top 10. Jason Wallets, Aman Lal, Lane Holsler, Robert Nelson, Kevin Burrell, your top 15. Ryan Mayer, David Enger, Rashad Craig, Gonzalo Romero, and Alexander Russell, your top 20. And rounding out this 24-car field, Allen Dreiling, Boom Boom Buchanan, A.J. Slaughterbeck. And we got about an hour, right, until the IndyCar race?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So we're getting everybody out of here just in time.
Brophy does a full Polish lap. It's nice to see.
Let's get in a replay here and get some close-ups here. There we go. So we can talk to the right people.
Yes, sir. Looks like we have everybody here.
Nice. All right, stand by. We'll get the first one in here. And here is Seb Alexander. And joining us in the booth, Seb Alexander. A very long race, but a hard-fought, but a very consistent race for you, actually. You were kind of in the top 5 all race long, come home in third. Congratulations, sir. We know you've been working at these open setup races. It looks like you had something that was kind of working for you today.
Yeah, car's fine. Track's such a challenge to drive now with the repave when it's this hot, but felt like I've made gains in traffic. Like I was spend most of the race behind Kevin, and he would pull away as soon as we had clean air, and then he'd seemingly have a little bit harder time like passing the lappers, and so we went like back and forth like that until the long run, I suppose. I don't know if he had like an accident at the end of it or he just nuked his tires. I'm not sure.
Kevin.
Go ahead, Antonio.
Yeah, no, just saying that Kevin did have a wreck. Fortunately, that's what took him out of the contention at the end.
But in the stint before, like before the green
No,
flag
it was
started?
the last caution, like the very last caution.
Yeah, I know. But what happened to him?
I think he ran his
Oh
tires
yeah,
out.
no, that was a tire thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, copy. Yeah. It's tough to when the track is this hot. Yeah, really tough.
What did
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you. Sorry, Gary.
Yeah, that's fine.
Just wanted to ask you, Seb. We saw that with the repave, looks like the lanes are completely different, and you're unable to run like the very top. How did you adjust, and how did you manage to bring the car home third?
Yeah, basically the top is out of bounds now, and I think using a slight bit of brake to get down all the way down low in traffic. I think that was big. It seemed to me like when we were in a train of traffic, few people were able to get like all the way down, and I think that goes a long way for keeping the tires alive on a long run.
That was actually going to be my question: is what did you find that other drivers were having so difficult in passing? What did you find that made passing a little bit easier for you, and that you went ahead and answered that one? So that answers my question. Gives me a chance to turn the mic over to you. Any shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, anyone you want to say hi to for coming home third? It's been a pretty good week for your team. You guys finished second and third yesterday in yesterday's top split, and finishing third for IAR again today. In today's top split. So you guys have seemed to figure out something on these shorter high-speed ovals.
Yeah, but still a bit off, not quite where we would want to be just yet, I suppose. But we just got to keep digging. That's all there's to it. Shout out to all my teammates, everyone we're working with. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, just on to the next one.
Well, congratulations, and we will see you in a week when we go to Montreal. Congratulations, and go have fun and celebrate it.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah. Let's bring up Hamilton. And here he is, Hamilton, finishing second today on a dominating day. You did not want to see either one of those last two cautions. Talk about the restart and everything leading to when Brophy just got alongside you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just our car is built for the last 50 laps. And also Jason said he made adjustments on the final stop just for the short run, and I didn't really change anything, and I don't know. It's just a little unlucky. Like Jason would always catch the first 20 whatever laps of the run, and then I'd pull away. So I knew if it came down to something like that, it would be pretty difficult. But yeah, it's just a little annoying when there's 275 laps in a race and a caution just happens to come with 10 to go. But yeah, I mean, what can you do? It's a little unlucky.
Well, I mean, the playing field was level, though. I mean, you both came to pit road and you both got tires. Was it really? Did it really? Do you think came down to Brophy? Whatever he dialed in or out of his car at that stop is really kind of what was the difference for him then?
Partially, but just as I said, even throughout every previous run, Jason would be faster for the first 20-25 laps of the run, so it's not surprising to me. But he was faster there as well. So yeah.
Well, I won't tell you how many laps you led, but it's on the screen for anybody who wants to see it. Kind of a dominating day. Not the result you necessarily want for a day that you dominated. You still finished second. I know a lot of people would love to swap that position with you, but I don't think you want to give that up. So I guess congratulations. I know you really wanted the win. A last question before you have any shout-outs. How far was this setup off of what they could buy, what people can buy from P1 Docs? So can people buy a setup similar to what you have here from P1 Docs?
The P1 set is pretty good. I would just say we're going as aggressive as humanly possible. So I don't know. I try to leave the set still somewhat comfy for the average driver, and so just the team sets are at the top are
right.
Very difficult to drive at short ovals, especially. Short ovals are just different in the way you have to build sets. So it's, yeah, I would say Shuros are quite different.
Shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, anyone you want to say hi to?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to P1, shout out to Kevin and Alan for running. Kevin, but yeah, that sucks. But yeah, so shout out to them.
All right. Well, congratulations on the P2. We will catch you at the next one. Until then, take care.
Thanks.
Not as happy as we've heard him before in the past, Antonio.
Understandable, man. I mean, yeah, I've been there, not necessarily in a broadcast race, but yeah, just after dominating a day and having come to something like a caution that's completely out of your hands and losing it that way, it's always going to be rough.
Let's bring up Jason Brophy real quick, and here he is, Jason Brophy, with the win, sir. And I know you were on our broadcast on Tuesday, and you were talking about I keep finishing second. Although this week in the IIS has been pretty kind to you. 2 wins, one earlier in the week and one today, and sounds like that you made a little bit of a change. Not sure what you made the change to. If you want to share that with us, whether it was aero or tire pressure on that last pit stop, that kind of helped you a little bit more in that restart with Hamilton. But getting the win after running down Hamilton, passing him after Hamilton really dominating the day all day long.
Yeah, I knew I was a short run car after the first few runs. Like, I was faster than him, or as fast as him for about 25, 30 laps, and then it was just, he was gone, rocket ship. Mm-hmm. Nothing I could do. Part of that's me. I killed the right front tire compared to my teammates, but part of that's the setup. And so I knew, best shot was a short run at the end of the race at that point. I won't say I planned on it. I hoped, but part of me also doesn't, because Hamilton deserved this win. And so when when the caution came out there with 15, I knew what I was going to do. I'd run myself so I had the minimum amount of fuel I could, and then I was going to take wing out and send it. And I got a perfect restart, and he just too loose, I think, to be able to fight. Got a great run off 2 on the first lap, and managed to use that to kind of dive to the inside in 3. And then the car was just too fast on the short run relative to him. So, unfortunate for him that I stole it, essentially. I mean, I fully stole it. He deserved to win. He drove way better than me. I was bad in traffic. He was way better. And again, I don't think all that's the car. He drove great, but hey, that's racing. I did win the Wednesday one. I stole it from my teammates. So, getting good at stealing these wins at Iowa. So, 2 straight. I think that means we've swept all 3 so far. Again, granted, this one not so deserved, because I think Rob won yesterday's by 2 laps or something. But
yeah.
So yeah, good run. I think that's probably the last one I'm running. Long races. You
did your double header just like the real drivers did. So yeah. I guess yeah, my explanation here for people watching from home that don't really know how open setup races are. It's just open setup is they get to make their own setups. But the other thing that's unlocked for these cars is just like in real IndyCar racing, when Jason came to pit road, like you would see like a Newgarden or a McLaughlin or a Pato O'Ward kind of pit road for a last pit stop, you see those crew members go into those little dials on the ends of the winglets there that change the angle of attack of the wings. I don't know. You said you took it out, so you took a wing out of the front to reduce drag, and that helped your speed on the straights. And that's what Jason did, just like they would do in the real world. Whereas when Hamilton came to pit road, he opted not to do anything, make any late changes like that. And that is something that you could do in these open setup races that you don't see in fixed setup races, is actually make the aero changes on pit road, just like in the real world. So that's what Jason did. And very much like a Penske type strategy, or a McLaren type strategy, or Ganassi type strategy, that change really led to helping you get the lead and helping you get the win.
Yeah, but I'll say it wasn't an aero thing. It's purely a balance thing, because we run the car a little too loose for a longer run, right? You need to run a little too much wing at the start, and then once the tires get up temp and stuff, it's balanced out. But on a short run like that, you'll be too loose to go fast. And I think that's what Hamilton ran into. And I done enough of this. I was afraid I'd overdone it. It turns out I probably could have done a little more, but yeah, it's not to go fast and straight. The difference in wing angle's negligible to the straight line speed, especially in a place like Iowa. It's so short. It's all about keeping momentum. And if you have to crack the throttle because you're a little loose on entry, or I could drive it in a little harder. I could keep a little more throttle, keep a little more momentum. That's the real chase there, and that's what we're going for.
And then that you go ahead.
Sorry, just a quick follow-up on that, Jason. I'm wondering how much of the previous, notebook of setups that you had at Iowa actually transferred to these new, entirely new conditions, right? You have a new scan for the repaved track and also the new car scan. So I imagine that there are a lot of things that do transfer. But can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, not necessarily about the specifics, but just wondering how much.
Oh, we want specifics, but we know you're not going to give them to us. So
a lot of this stuff transferred over, right? I don't think we have the full rebuild yet. When we get the hybrid weight, I expect things will change. But right now, a lot of the setup stuff, the setup ideas, it's a smoother track. It's a lot smoother through the corners. There's still bumps. They're just far more minute. You just don't feel them as much, near as much, like the unsettling bump in 1 and 2. So it lets you be a little more aggressive with things potentially, with how you set up the car, the ride heights, etc. But the other side of that is it's definitely a little more grip in the black, but the exits are sketchier to me, especially when it's 133 or whatever it was to start this race.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean that's hot, and it's uncomfortable trying to transition out of the gray into the black and back out of it. Right, same thing. It's real easy to. On Wednesday, I went full sideways. That was more. I hit a bump in the spot as I turned in, and it went completely sideways through one. Today I didn't do that, thankfully. But it's just, the track is a little narrower. Still 2 lanes, thankfully for us, at least a little bit. It is easier for the person running in first to kind of set up for a middle entry, make the person go low, and then cut the air. And I think, if I hadn't gotten to Hamilton's left rear, he would have been able to do that, and I'd have been in trouble potentially. But it's different, but it's a lot of still the same stuff for now. I think that big change will come with the next one, especially if we get it up, because we aren't quite on the latest tire model, especially if they continue to update that and give us the hybrid weight. I think then you'll be changing what you're doing balance-wise and stuff, because that's more weight at the rear of the car.
Finding balance. Well, any shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, anyone you want to say hi to on the big win here today?
Yeah, my Power Slide teammates, Rob especially, has put in way too much work for this. Alex, Russell, Phil, myself, Adam helped us a lot with the setup this week. Tommy and Ty Milner, Tommy Milner and Ty Stover, saying that combining them into one person, the Team Hype owners that gave me a shot to run for this team. Really appreciate it. It's been great. I shouldn't say it's been great as if it's a retro thing. It's still great. And then you guys for broadcasting, appreciate it. Glad I signed up and ran well today. So, yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations on the win, sir. We'll catch you in the next one. Okay.
Thank you.
And being like an IndyCar driver and being an IndyCar driver and I guess in a Jedi, much the same way. You got to find balance. Joining us in the booth is Justin Petschauer. JP, you were in the second split. How'd you do? How'd it go for you?
The top 5 streak is still alive, boys.
Oh, okay. Well, tell us.
Well, only 9 cars qualified. I decided to start. I was going to try to start from the back, but since only 9 qualified, it placed me 10th. Gut instinct told me shenanigans would be afoot coming to the green. Sure enough, US 500 start, boys.
Uh-oh.
6 cars took themselves out inside the top 10. Then about halfway through, near the halfway point, somebody wrecked on the front and then stupidly, and I mean stupidly, stopped right before the start finish, bopped me and about 4 others for passing before passing on the inside, and we had to go serve our drive-through after. Led 2 laps early on, and then basically went into tire save mode, and oh man, it was a beaut. Barely little to no changes at all. Front rear wing, weight jacker, ARBs, everything. The car was glued to the track. As far as everything else goes, I was hoping for at least maybe a win, but when you get shenanigans like that near the halfway point with a guy stopping with a completely wrecked car, he'll say, there's nothing more you can do. You're just along for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
But much of the rest of what I was going to say, Brophy basically took the words out of my mouth. At least we still have 2 grooves. I still do not like the half-assed repave job, but that's NASCAR/ISC for you. Other than that, it was a relatively calm race, couple of spins here and there, a couple of guys losing it coming out of pit road because you can't thunderfoot it coming off a pit lane, guys. You got to remember that there's a nasty bump literally when you exit pit road, even coming off, even when you try and blend out back onto the track. So just be mindful of that, guys. Other than that, I am looking forward to going north of the border to Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and Circuit Gilles Villeneuve next week. That's another one of my best tracks there, and fingers crossed, hopefully I can end the decade-long winless streak there. I'm hoping.
Final thoughts from you, Antonio. Good race here today. Bit of I guess if you were to ask me halfway through this race, even at the 3/4 mark, I would have said it would have been somebody else other than the winner winning, but not to rule that person out. But the person that kind of dominated the day, just it didn't turn out that way. The cards did not fall the way they needed them to fall, and a late pass with on a late restart, and then a late yellow seals the win for Brophy, getting the win. Hamilton dominated the day, comes home second. We could feel the agony of defeat, but we could also feel a little bit of the joy of victory from Jason as well.
Yeah, the 2 sides of the same coin, right?
Yeah.
That's just racing. And I was actually talking about the same thing before we interviewed him. On one hand, I was happy for Jason to actually make it by Hamilton, but on the other, I was like, man, I wish that caution didn't come out because Hamilton deserved the win. But on the other hand, it's like, it gave us a very exciting restart. And the thing that I enjoy the most, honestly, is that we don't have this manufactured finish. This happened just because organically a caution happened to come out with 10 laps to go, so we had an 8-lap shootout, which meant that at the end of the race it was decided this way. Same thing happens in real life IndyCar. Cannot say the same for every other series out there, but where things seem to be a little bit more manufactured, in a way. But yeah, Iowa is always a very interesting track, and to be honest, I like it better whenever we race it at night. I feel like that's where it shines the most.
Mm-hmm.
But we actually had a great race at the end of the day. We had to do a lot of things. The drivers had to do a lot of things. Had to manage the tires. Had to manage the fuel. How to manage the loads. Had to manage the traffic, and strategy on top of it. So yeah, we did get, I think, a little bit of a lull at some point, but we had a ton of action. Cars were able to pass. We were kind of fearing that they were not going to be able to do it, and that second groove was never going to develop. We saw it come into play, and in the end, the IIS delivers as it typically does. So yeah, looking forward to next week. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is a wonderful place to race at. And yeah, it typically is a lot of fun. I wish we had Toronto, like real Toronto, because that's also very like a great track, and so suited for IndyCar racing that I would love to see it one day. I know that the logistics are probably a nightmare, but yeah, looking forward to it.
Hey, Justin, supposedly Toronto has been scanned? Justin, you there still?
Wasn't it for the
Yeah.
for the others?
Was Toronto scanned but not by iRacing, or has it been scanned by iRacing? I forget. I seem to remember it has been, but it just, I don't know if we will ever see it. And there's been talk about this being the last year for Toronto too. That's another reason why the schedule is kind of taking so long to come out. But I don't know what's what, and I don't know what's up. But is it been scanned? I thought it was.
I've heard it has been. I've heard it hasn't.
Okay.
Nobody knows.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. Next week, Montreal. All right. Let's get on out of here. Give everyone back. We got 40 minutes here, I think, before the real IndyCar race kicks off from Iowa. So that's it for today. Once again, your podium from Iowa Speedway. Jason Brophy with a late pass and secures the lead, and then a caution falls to secure the win. He gets the win today. Cabo Easy dominates the day. Led the most laps, got the pole position, did everything he needed to do. Just cards into Fall's way. Comes home second. Seb Alexander, great run for Seb. Very quietly all in the top 5 all day long today. And just perseveres his way into third spot. Good finish for him. That is your podium. Join us again next Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern time for round 12. Now, the 2025 campaign as the teams and drivers head north of the border to Montreal and Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Coverage starts at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Again, it's 2:00 p.m. Eastern. As always, for the correct broadcast time in your area, you can find everything right here at YouTube at youtube.com/@P1 Broadcast. And you can also see us in the iRacing Weekly Tune-In blog entry post. That's another way you can find us. All of our IIS, Indy Oval, and Indy Open races will be there. So check them out as well. That's going to be on the iRacing website every week. They post that. So, hey, we love bringing these races to you, but not easy. Require time and money to produce. If you share our passion for the sport of IndyCar and have enjoyed our coverage of the IndyCar iRacing Series, please take time to visit our GoFundMe page. The link is in the description. It's also pinned in chat. And donate to our 2025 broadcast fund. We realize times are tough, so any contribution would be greatly appreciated. And we thank you for watching and make us part of your YouTube viewing during NTT IndyCar race weeks, whenever that might happen. Now, as you know, the YouTube algorithm of the game is not easy, so please help support P1 with the weekly grind. Leave a comment below. Let us know your thought on today's race. If you enjoyed today's coverage, support us by smashing like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe. And while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so you'll miss out on more of other P1's other iRacing programming, including the returns of our IndyCar doubleheader Mondays for the rest of July. Catch the IndyCar iRacing IndyCar Open Series on Monday nights at 8 p.m., followed by the Sim Gaming Expo ISRA Open Wheel Series at 9:35 p.m. Eastern Time. If you enjoy IndyCar, make P1 your home on Monday nights for the rest of July. P1's IndyCar iRacing Series Saturday Top Split coverage is presented to you by 4D Racewear. Check out their line of made-for-sim racing gloves, shoes, and apparel. Visit them today at 4dracewear.com or click on the link in the description. Track cams for this race are provided by Whiplash Sim Cams. Get the most out of your iRacing experience with Whiplash. To learn more about Whiplash, like them on Facebook. You can follow them on X and Instagram. The links are in the description. For business inquiries and learn more about P1 and what we do, you can like us on Facebook, you can follow us on X and Instagram, and you can follow all of our social links on Linktree. The links you need are all in the description. So, for El Patron, Antonio Estrada, for Ryan Skywalker, who will be with us next week, everyone here at P1, Justin Petschauer, everyone at 4D, I'm Gary Gotzo saying to all, thanks for watching. And to all of our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Make sure to catch the real stars and cars of the NTT IndyCar Series for a doubleheader this weekend. Race 1 is tonight, and in about 35 minutes from now at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for the Sync 275 powered by Suck Up. Race 2 is Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for the Farm to Finish 275, also powered by Suck Up. You can follow all the action on your local Fox affiliate. You can follow it on the Fox app. And if you're outside of America, you can follow all the action on the IndyCar Live app. Or just join Mark Janes and the gang on IndyCar Radio on SiriusXM Channel 215. Be sure to check your local listings for the correct broadcast times and station in your area. You can catch all of us again next week at 2 p.m. Eastern Time in Montreal for the next race of the IndyCar iRacing Series Saturday Top Split right here on P1. Good night and enjoy the IndyCar race, everybody.